My lighting is really bad. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Peace Talks. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm still in my cozy clothes. It's been a day of rest because we are coming out of some pretty serious energies that we just moved through. And I've got a really great metaphor, thank God, from that kind of ties it all together, brought it together for me as far as like what we just went through. I will give you the warning that Pepe is like antsy. He's just been trotting around here, and he is wanting to get out of the house. And so he's a little bit rambunctious. So hopefully he'll just keep it quiet for a while. But I'm going to just jump right in just because I've got to get him out, and B, I think we all might have been feeling this. I know a few of you have, because I got messages over the last couple of days. But the last 48 hours, we had quite an influx of energy, and it was. I've been talking about kind of these test pulses of tonal energy or tonal frequencies that we've been getting. I do believe that we kind of got a test pulse of energy coming in as we're being prepared for this moment in time when when we do get this massive elevation in consciousness and expansion. When I say elevation, it's not just up and down, it's all around. And I believe we had an acceleration kind of test these last couple of days. So just to give you, I talk a lot about my environment. Hi, Brenna. Good morning. I talk about my environment. I believe that, like, spirit knows how I'm a visual learner. I'm a verbal processor. So that's why I think a lot of these peace talks and daily tune-ins over the last year has been so helpful for me, because I just come on here and talk out and process the last few days worth of energies to fully understand it. I'm also a visual learner. I need to see it to kind of understand what's happening. So because I have such a connection with the environment and the elements, I will tell you when the energies are big, 100% of the time, my environment will reflect that. And that is how my consciousness creates my reality. So when I start noticing things within me, I'll be like, what is this? What is this? And I'm like, I will eventually get a visual, and then I speak it out, and then I embody it. I understand it. So I'm still in that process of understanding these last couple of days. But this morning was kind of when a connection was made, and I was like, okay. And it was as if I was given the message through my environment. But all day for the last 2 days, it has been cloudy, stormy, rainy here in Saranda, Albania. Yesterday was the really big day. And if you looked at it on the radar, in the US, when, bad storms are going through kind of the, tornado alley, it's all red and yellow. And when you see those radar colors, you're like, oh, they're getting lit up at the moment. That was what it was like here in this entire region. It spread from Greece to Albania, out to Turkey, over to Italy. And this whole region was just lit up in red. And what that looked like here was some really crazy storms. The wind, I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I was talking. I don't even remember what Peace Talks it was, but I was saying like how windy it was this one night. Last night was or yesterday, and it was all day. There was like maybe two, actually, there were not maybe, there were two little breaks where I got the dogs out really quickly to like pee and do their thing and come back in because I mean, it was sideways raining all day. The clouds were moving through so fast. I mean, it was fascinating to me to watch because I hadn't, at this point, I've seen clouds roll through here pretty quickly. But last night, the way in which they were, or not last night, but all day, just moving through, almost like like not even naturally, how fast they were moving. And the winds at one point, I had to put our we have these storm shutter things, and I had to put those down because the glass was rattling so badly, and let me finish that, so badly on the doors, the sliding glass doors in this window, that I was afraid it was going to break. Because at the same time, not only were the winds, I mean, gusts, like gusty winds. I mean, it was super windy, but then these gusts would come through that were like a little bit uncomfortable. So I put the storm doors down, and the pressure that I felt, like my whole body was like, I could feel this pressure. And even the dogs, like Pri was sitting there, she was shaking. Like I could tell that there was just something different, in the pressure of the air. Now, how that looked inwardly was very similar as well. There was, for the last 2 days, to sit in the awareness of what energies were moving through, um, emotionally and mentally, were fascinating. It was these, when we are purging, when we are in the process of purging, or densities, or toxicities within within our emotional mental strata, it comes in the form of emotions, and usually the story behind those emotions. And so it was like um that at the speed of light. Like literally, I mean, I don't think it, not literally, but it was so fast. A dip would come and I'd come back up, and then I would be in the experience of the kind of heaven on earth vision that we've been talking about on here, and then dipping down, and it was like this for the last 2 days, but nothing was like sticking long enough to get in it. It was just like, whoa, that went out as fast as it came in, and then, oh, okay, and that would go out, and then something else would come in, and it was hard to just keep up with myself. And I also, because of what was happening outside, everything is a reflection. Even the weather will be a reflection. That's why when it's rainy, we tend to kind of want to hunker down and get quiet and cozy. you know if we kind of feel more like, more, we feel more meh when it's rainy sometimes, or if it's sunny, then we feel more lighthearted. So the weather will dictate that for us sometimes, and also we are the reflection of it. And so it was no surprise. And then with the pressure, and in the barometric pressure, all of that all combined, it was just like coming from all directions. And I thought it was so interesting, and I just kept getting, there's an acceleration in progress, there's an acceleration in progress. When I would get quiet, I would tune into the tonal tunes that we've been talking about, and then just kind of, then that would like phase out, my awareness would phase out of that, and I would phase into the awareness of, where is my mind right now, where is my heart right now, where's my body. Even my body, my lower gut area was gurgly. It was, everything was just as chaotic as the atmosphere was. It was just chaos. And I'd be like, what's happening right now? To ask, ask the question out of curiosity, right? Curiosity is how we get our answers, asking questions. What is this right now? What do I need to be aware of? And I just kept getting, there's an acceleration, there's an acceleration. I also received a couple of messages on Instagram being like, "Are the energies really crazy right now?" I also then got, I opened up my email, excuse me, at one point and received an email from a client that I had earlier this year, and he kind of like disappeared. I didn't see him much anywhere, and he came, he showed up in my email, and he was just like, "Da, da, da," like, "I'm coming back to you because I can't get answers anywhere else. I'm like depression is really really obvious. I'm very in my world." And my response is, especially right now where we are with these energies being so big, and what we've been talking about on Peace Talks is we are being prepared for a massive shift. But before we can go into the massive shift, we are being toned, we are being conditioned almost. Like in any kind of competitive sport, right before there's a big competition, you condition, you do your routines over and over, and you keep practicing. So that's what we have to get good at, taking on these accelerated periods for practice. And that's what these last couple of days I believe and I know have been. So and this acceleration, as we excel pretty quickly in consciousness and expand in consciousness, which is that I know what was happening as I tuned into my internal world, my inner world. It was, it's this, and it was almost testing, like, how far, not how far, but not like, I've been talking about this too, nothing was grabbing me. It was there, and I would feel it. But as much as, and when I would feel like grief or whatever, sadness, then I would be expanded into the vision of heaven on earth. This is what all we're moving into, and then taken down here, and then taken over here, and then taken over here. So it was just kind of like, it was a practice run to see where we could stay in consciousness. And the one thing I just kept my awareness on and my intention on was staying at that 0 point, staying in the calm, observing and noticing. When we ascend into these higher realms, it doesn't take away pain in our life. It doesn't take away fear. It doesn't remove any of that. When we come into a unified field, we are unifying with all of that. So I knew, now I'm pretty good at knowing that when I'm taken down into a dip, just to stay in that 0 point with it and just observe it, because it is simply a unification process. There is a process at hand that is unifying all of our emotions into one, so that we can be in the center, we can be centered in them. So when we are in the centered, and joy and bliss and love come into our awareness, that we don't accelerate into the radical empathy of it. Oh, I had my little thing over there. It's okay. But when fear and grief and frustration and anger show up, we don't drop down and become that. We stay centered and just notice, what's bringing me into this anger? Is there something I need to do with it? Do I just simply need to let go of it? And so we don't go into the dysfunctional, the dysfunctional awareness, consciousness of being, the lower consciousness of being associated with it. We were being given a test run of not being associated with any one emotion, any one intelligence. We were practicing being in the emotional intelligence of centeredness, of the 0 point. But I still was kind of like, there's something happening though with all of these different things that were coming in. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. What the acceleration point. So when I got up this morning, there was still a lot of clouds, but the rain was here in the morning and then it cleared out. And maybe around 11 o'clock, and that's when I went up the mountain with the dogs. And when I got up to the top, and I could see it from the balcony, that right off of, maybe, I don't know, like 100 yards or so off the coast, the waters were really muddy. And the picture that I used for the thumbnail of this particular Peace Talks is the actual picture that I took from my balcony. I didn't take my camera up, or my phone up to the I hardly ever do, up to the hike with me, and I wish I had, because when I got up there, it was even more obvious. So all down the coast, as far as I could see, and I can see pretty far up there, it was all muddy around the coastal line. But right off the coast, it was a very distinct line that just showed me that the normal blue of the Ionian Sea was right there. And when I saw that, I realized I got kind of the message of what just happened. All of those different things that we have just passed through where, and then they were, when I was aware of, I'm like, gosh, this is old stuff, and oh my gosh, this is brand new. Oh, what is this? I haven't seen this vision yet. And then this is familiar. I've been here before. It was all of these different timelines, and I was very aware of it over the last 2 days. But here's the message that came through. The waters were extremely muddy. So the logic of what the muddy waters were. We have a river that comes out through the mountains and dumps out just south of where I am, a couple miles south. And usually when we get storms or lots of rain, it will get muddy like around where it dumps out. But the whole coastline was that I could see was muddy. And then as I got to the top, what I could also see, as there were in the muddy waters, there were these areas where a bunch of debris would kind of just pool up together. And as I looked at it, these muddy waters, these muddy waters, as a metaphor, where timelines were merging together. When we expand in consciousness, when we hit that moment in time where all awareness opens up, it will be past, present, and future all coming together. And it's hard for our minds to really understand that. And I don't know if I have a full understanding of it either, but I kind of like, but there's enough of it that I do grasp onto. I can grasp onto it. And so past, present, there's only the now moment. And in this now moment in space and time, the past, present, and future are all happening together. They're all happening in a different place in space and time. Just this linear time has been artificial intelligently programmed into us, so that we erroneously think that everything is separated, but everything's happening at once. So as these waters were being muddied outside of me, I understood that there was runoff. There was a river coming in with all of the rain we got. There was all kinds of new tributaries coming into the water, bringing the debris, and that debris was pooling up in these dense little pools. Over time, all of that will settle, all of that will merge back together, the debris will break up, and we will be back to the calmness of the Ionian Sea that typically is, not normal, but it will be the now moment. There will be a now moment when it's all settled. That is what we have just been through, and that is what we are going to continue to go through, especially in these last few days of this big tidal wave of energy that we've been in since the November 11th, and this tidal wave will complete for the most part, as far as the main flood of it, on the 21st. So everything is getting churned up. Tomorrow we go into the 12/12 portal. And I have already talked about Patricia Cota Robles's last weekly vlog on her YouTube channel. I also posted it in Storehouse Social, and she talks about the magnitude of energy that we're about to enter into. Today's the 11th, so we're there. We're in it already. So I do believe it could be another really intense week of, and maybe another test run in a very similar fashion. That's why I'm really trying to break it down. So what I saw from the top of that mountain and understood where there were a lot of different tributaries coming together at once, and there were these dense patches. And if you take that metaphor on the inside, we were moving through many different timelines, merging them together in the now moment, so that we could practice staying in that 0 point, space, that place in time. And we were passing through some dense moments. We were passing through some densities and purging that out. So if there's still a lot of, I don't want to say a lot to put, like, I don't want to quantify this, but if for those who are feeling a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, maybe a lot of fear over these last couple of days, maybe a lot of bodily stuff, pain, of any kind, or discomfort, we were passing through. That's just simply our system passing through a lot of density. It's just purging the density of emotions, of traumas, of stuck emotions, of toxicity in the body. It was moving it through. That's why we can't get hung up on it and grab onto it as if it's something. It's just like me going in this muddy water and trying to grab onto these pools of where the debris pulls up. If I were to swim out there, it's really just, sticks and like leaves and like all of the debris. But if I try to hang on to it, it's not gonna hold me up, and it's gonna float away as soon as I move into it. That's how these dense moments are. So if depression, if anxiety is coming up, it's pulling in the past densities, and traumas. And if we try to hang on to it and put a story to it, and it isn't gonna, it doesn't give us really much. We just simply have to notice it and allow it to disband on its own, to process out. But we just simply, this is where the 0 point moment, the zero, it's not a moment, it's a 0 point, there's a word that I want, y'all, I'm sorry, I can't think of it. It's that 0 point, um, place where we just don't give energy to these things. And giving energy means we are, we're trying to stay afloat when, we're feeling depressed and, oh, I can't be here, I can't be here. It's just simply just be there, because eventually it floats out. And then the next wave of, whatever will come in. So that's why when we're feeling really good, we can't attach to it, be like, oh, I just want to stay here, because that's not a unified 0 point, behavior. It's not healthy. We have to stay in that virtuous space in emotional intelligence. Artificial intelligence, artificial, I'm not talking about just technology AI. I'm talking about the artificial intelligence that has programmed us to stay, artificial intelligence is us being programmed to stay in the fear, to attach to it, to attach to the worry, to attach to the overwhelm, to attach, and it becomes our identity, to attach to, being happy all the time. None of that is healthy. It's dysfunctional. So the 0 point moment, or the being in the moment at the 0 point place, is being in the virtuous, unified, supernal channel of that moment in time, when we're just there with whatever the emotion is that's passing through the supernal channel. It passes through, it drops out, and then the next wave comes in, it passes through, it drops out, and then the next wave. So as the waves come in into this muddy water, from that place out there that I can see, and you can see it too in the picture of this, the image on this peace talks, there is a line, there is a delineation. It's almost weird. It's those muddy water, and then it just stops, and then it's clear blue water. That is the stillness. And as that floats in, it clears out all of the muddy water, it clears out all of the debris. And what's happening now is all of these to get us prepared for this moment when past, present, and future come in all in a moment's time, and our consciousness is blown wide open, that we don't get stuck in the fear of it. We don't get stuck and attached to the shock and awe of it. We just simply pass through it being like, whoa, I'm just going to stay right here. I'm going to stay right here, and just allow that moment in time to just pull in, flow through, and out. And that is what we are being prepared for. I hope this makes sense. I feel like there's something else I'm missing, but I'm gonna let that metaphor just be there. So the muddy waters of connection, the title of this peace talks is all about this connection coming together. Past, present, and future are making their way together, and it feels really um, intense. Okay, it feels really intense, but it's the connection point. It's the connection point. When I plug this, this plug into the wall, there's a connection point when all of a sudden electricity flows. And all day yesterday, I felt just these um, pulses of electric going through. I was jittery. I was like, like it's funny to hear myself speak about it, but it was literally, and my hands were shaking. There was so much energy pulsing through, because we are being prepared, and we are being flushed out at an accelerated pace, with tomorrow being the 1212 portal. This is where, like, the 1212 portal is like the spiritual portal. 12 is a very, very, there's no coincidence to 12, 12 hours, 12 months, the 12 constellations. 12 is a very the 12 power centers of our body. I do that because it goes down our back. Our spine is the spiritual kind of um, backbone, our spiritual backbone. So all of our power centers are plugged in there, and plugged into then our 12 chakras, our 12 energetic chakras. So 12 is we are going to get a blast of some spiritual energy flowing through us here. And this is going to, it'll take us into the rest of the week. So it could be a rather intensive week. It's an intensive. What happens in an intensive? Intensive training means it's all about training. And intensive studying, like you're studying. Intensive learning, like an intensive means it's all that. So this week is going to be an energetic intensive. So just keep this metaphor. The waters are going to be muddied this week, because of the connections coming in. This is the final month. If you go back to last year at this time, I think it was like after the solstice on the daily tune-ins. I don't remember the title, but it's something to the effect of our 12 power centers. And the 12 power centers in all of 2022, the 12 power centers, one by one, were coming online. We are completing that connection phase this month. So all 12 power centers are on. All 12 power centers are going to be activated and powered up this over the next couple of days. We are going to be expanded and ascended at an accelerated rate. So, all of that is simply just preparing us for that moment in time, which could be any moment now, where we in the inner hearing hears the tonal frequencies, where we know at that point that we're about to get the big one. And whether that's I don't know if it's going to be this week, y'all. It could be next year. I'm not saying it's happening soon. I'm just saying that we are being made aware of it so that we know that we are being prepared for it. And in order to prepare for a really big event, we have to have an intensive conditioning to get prepared for it. Because if our bodies, meaning our entire multidimensional body, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, are not prepared, there's no way we're going to make it through it with peace and calm and being in that 0 point place. So this was a practice run, and I will tell you, it was quite intense. I have all the, you know, I know where I am in consciousness, and I am pretty confident that I don't know how to say this without sounding like it's coming from ego, but it is. But my ego also has been completely changed. It has completely come out of the ego mind that acts from what it doesn't know. My ego now is like knowing about this process. I am extremely confident in understanding what's happening energetically and how it's being reflected in my reality. So when I was going through this, like all this weekend, I was like, holy crap, if it's this intense for me, I know for those who aren't aware, it was a really, really intense couple of days. And for everybody in between, it was an intensive. It was an intensive few days. So, with that in mind, and with this conversation happening, we're expanding our awareness of it. So, as we move through this week, should we have some more experiences like these last couple of days, we're prepared for it. We just know then the water, and water is the element that's associated with our emotions, the deep abyss. So our waters are going to be muddied here probably this week. It's going to feel rather intense, but just know it's because the connectivity, connections are being made. All of the final process of our 12, spiritual powers coming in online with our 12 energetic centers. Our bodies are coming on, online in a way that they've never been online. Our emotional intelligence is now flushing out the last of the artificial intelligence that we've had in our mind and in our emotional bodies and also in our physical bodies. So all of it is starting to, is going to be cleared out and then muddied again, cleared out and muddied again. So it's going to be a lot of work that goes into us energetically this week. So just simply be prepared for it. Okay. So I'm going to take some of my water and see what you all are saying. So happy to catch this live. Oh, hey, Tara. Good morning. Brenda says, it felt so chaotic and uncomfortable yesterday. I finally went back to bed because I felt so out of control. And good. I'm glad you said that, Brenna. I slept a lot yesterday. Not a lot, but today I did actually. But when and that's just it. When that moment, I shared my, gosh, I'm going all over the place. Sorry, it feels like I'm still in the like settling down from all the chaos. But I posted in Storehouse Social the kind of the message that came through for me to send out. Once we hear that tonal command, whatever that sounds like, we will know it. That's when we know that the massive expansion is coming and is about to happen. So I was led to write up, kind of like, hey, here's what's happening, just be prepared, and here's how to prepare. One of those things is just sleep. If we can just sleep through it, then everything, all parts of us are like the conscious mind, who is the one that starts to go, oh my god, and it starts trying to figure everything out. The conscious mind is asleep. Everything else is in stillness, so it can take it in and process it. So when we have these high moments of expansion, the best thing we can do is sleep. So, and there's that virtuous there's that virtuous space of that too, so like there can be a dysfunctional, like, just sleep your way metaphorically, and we know many humans are still sleeping their way through, like, not wanting to see, but in consciousness. So we just, we will know when it's time to just simply go to sleep. And today, when the sun came out for a bit, and I was sitting out there, and I was like completely overwhelmed with, like, going from the chaos of stormy weather inside and out to the peace all of the sudden and sitting in the sun. When I came in, I was like, whoa, I just rested, and I had crazy weird dreams. And the dreams, I know I've seen a lot of people say my dreams are so weird, but remember, the subconscious mind is when it is pulling in and filtering through all of the new data that it's getting, and it's kind of finding a place for it in its own storage system, and it's completely being reprogrammed as well. So we have been working on, moving out the artificial intelligence that has filled up our subconscious mind with new intelligence that we choose to put there, that we choose to pull in, because in higher awareness, we are aware more in every moment in time. Therefore, we're like, what is this? Do I want to say yes to this? Do I want to comply? No. Bam. Oh, I like this. Yes, I pull this into my system. I choose this. Yes. Then we sleep, and the subconscious mind, because we've consciously chosen how to respond and how to move through each moment, we go to sleep. The subconscious mind then stores all of that new data as experience, as reality. So, over these last few years, we have been completely scrubbing the mind. When I talk about scrubbing the mind, we are scrubbing it of the artificial intelligence that the false matrix has programmed into it, which is why we were responding, why we have been living in fear and stress and overwhelm, because we were taught that's just normal, that's just life, that's just how it is. And we've gotten to a point through our awakening process where we're like, no, that's not true. That's the inverted matrix, which is all about artificial intelligence. I'm talking about emotional intelligence in there as well. So all of that has been scrubbed, and it's all being replaced. So you will dream, and it will be strange because the mind's just trying to make sense of it. And it's funny how it does it sometimes. Sometimes it's very, more realistic. Sometimes it's like out there. Sometimes most of the times we don't remember, but we just know we remember. We're like, we had some crazy dreams last night. I don't really know what it was, but we just remember being like, what? And that's all. Everything is being the muddied. Everything's being muddied, but that's how it's all being cleansed and cleared. Miriam, Brenda, the last few days have been pure hell for me. Cannot sleep through the night, tears ready to fall, just horrible. Just want peace of mind. And that's what's happening. Like the peace of mind is that delineation line, like that you see in the picture. Like everything is being muddied. It has to be muddied. We have to face, like, all, we're now being, like, given everything that we've ever feared, given everything that's ever pissed us off, given us everything, like everything coming into our conscious awareness, or all these different timelines, these tributaries of timelines coming in all at once to muddy up the waters, so that we then have to sort through that and bring in that peace and be in the peace during it. And I'm telling you, like I've been talking about for like 2 weeks, I've been in this dead calm and this peace. And I mean, it was work to stay there. I can say that I stayed there. I dipped here and there, but then, like, as fast as I would dip, I would come back into my awareness and be like, oh, hold on a second. Nope, I'm going to be back in my in that peace. I'm going to be back in the peace. But everything was muddied for sure, for sure. So that's it's again, it's all a practice run. Liza, good morning. Good morning from Hawaii. Buenos dias, Mary. It has been an internal battleground for me for the last 48 hours. Y'all, seriously, we're not, not alone. Like we were all in it. And I got other messages too from people that aren't on here. Like I said, a long email from, from my old client who was like, this is what's going on. Like I worked with all of these different people, and it's like I'm just back to, back down in the depths of hell at this point. So that's where I mean, these are practice rounds for us to not get attached to the stuff, but just let it flow through, whether we let it flow through tears, through purging, you know, like literally like we'll lap it, like pooping it out, whether it's screaming it out, whether it's just sitting in it, being like, oh my God. And that's pretty much what I did all, just yesterday. Just sat in that couch and I was like, oh God, what is going on? It was all over the place. Chaos. But the chaos creates the change. And there was an acceleration of chaos over the last 2 days. And there's going to be that acceleration, I don't think is complete. My environment looks like it's completed, but it's not. This acceleration is going to continue because tomorrow, technically we dive back into another. It's kind of like when you're on the flume ride at an amusement park. You go down the big hill and you get splashed, and then it's like, oh, you kind of go through like the enchanted forest, and then all of a sudden you drop down. That's the part of this energy tsunami from the 11th to December 21st that we're in. This is like the part that we know there's a lot of this twists and turns and ups and downs. Is the chaotic part, which is the most fun part in the flume ride, the log ride, or whatever we want to call it. But it's also like energetically and emotionally, just be prepared, because that's the part we're being taken into. Breathing through it, letting it pass through. Sometimes having to cry it out. There's no, like, don't stop the crying. That's how we flush it. That's how we flush it. These waves then that come out from that peaceful part of the water here and start to then wash away the muddy water, and then everything kind of settles. Those waves, those waves are going to be coming through us, and they come in the form of ways to purge the densities. So that's what we've just got to be really, really in tuned with this week. Carolyn says, hello. Oh, hi, Carolyn. Oh, yes, it's snowing here. Snow, it was a trigger. Today is whatever. Yeah, today was whatever for me too. And like, it was like, whatever, I need to take a nap. And then whatever, I got to take the dogs out. It was just like, just kind of like getting back into some kind of like normal, I say normal, but some kind of like breathing space. So just poop it out, Brenda. Like for real, like my stomach that yesterday was like all over the place because it was like up and down, right? And it felt like it felt like because of the chaos outside, because of the chaos inside. I mean, it was like doing all of this all day long, inside, outside, the pressure, like the barometric pressure. I don't even like that was just like pressing in, and I was trying to calm the dogs down, and all of it, I was like, I kept taking trips to the bathroom because that's how we purge. My physical body was also purging all of this. So we might have to purge, throw up. We might have diarrhea. We might have constipation because the body's like, So it's just being aware of how the processing is happening in all aspects, and just allowing the process to have its way with us, okay? Because it doesn't last. It's just a wave. Okay, that is what I've got today for you. I'm gonna like Pepe, I'm super grateful. He actually settled down. So now when I get up, he knows it's time to go out for his walk. So he's gonna go crazy here in a minute. But thanks everybody for riding this wave with me. Thanks for allowing me to come on here a little bit more comfortable than I try to fix myself up for you. But today I was like, I'm just coming as how I was lounging around today. I'm coming because it was that kind of couple of days. So I feel it. I feel you all. And I tried to just, do a post here or there on Storehouse Social just to kind of keep you updated. Like it's getting crazy out there. just so we can all be on the same page and have the awareness of this is what's happening. And it was a test run. And if this was just a test run for that moment in time, then we know that moment in time is going to be that's what we've been preparing for. And at the same time, it's going to be intense. It's going to be intense. And I'm doing a lot of gymnastics metaphors because I'm just kind of done with Instagram, and I've been following a lot of like gymnasts now. It blows my mind because back when I was a gymnast, like none of this existed. But I'm like, oh yeah, people like obviously post their stuff and their training and stuff. So I'm getting really, really reconnected back to that world. And it's taken me into a remembrance of like how intense training was right before a big competition. And then the competition would come, and that was so intense of like just managing your mind for those, those 4 events or those 4 hours of competition, but really for, 4 minutes of you competing, and like how intense that was. This is kind of that on a big, big scale. So when that moment in time, and I don't want to call it a competition, but it's in that moment of time when we are all on stage at the same time, receiving that message and receiving that expansion, it's going to be a really intense moment in time. I don't know how long it'll last, but it'll be really intense mentally to kind of keep our mind calm, emotionally to stay in the present moment, and physically where we will just have to remember to sleep through it. And when we wake up, it will be a different world that we're looking at. And I'm not saying, I don't know what that world will look like. And I think the inner world of us will be completely different because we will have a completely different understanding of life. We will have a completely different understanding of reality as we know it. So that even just those words sound so intense because none of us know what really we are getting prepared for, but we know enough that we're being prepared for something quite big. And just these test runs, this training intensive was quite, it felt quite big. And that even for those of us who were like ready for it, have been preparing, who have been training for it, it was intense. So this just has to be in our awareness, and just finding that place of peace to just breathe through is exactly how we move through those moments. Okay. I'm there with you all, Kat. Hi, Kat. All right, good. Thank you. Needed this peace talk today. I did too. Like it's so funny because I'll be like, oh, peace talk's in 3 hours. Oh, it's in 2 hours. And I'll be like, oh, I don't even want to do it. And it's not that I want to do it. It's just like the energy that it took, like it takes to kind of be here, like to give, um, felt like a lot for after, like I just kind of wanted to rest today. So but then I do these and I realize that we all connect over this. Our muddy waters, all of our tributaries came together on this peace talks, and now we're starting to be able to clear that because we have a higher understanding of it. So thank you for allowing me to be a little messy today, and also being in this with me, because it's a process, y'all. Like it's such an intense process. My heart is expanding at the moment. So I'm gonna go. So much love to you all. I'm going to go breathe in some fresh air, and I will see you on the next Peace Talks. Who knows where we'll be at that point, but in 2 days we will be through, the major like opening up of this big portal on tomorrow, and we will see where we are at that point. But for now, just allow the waters to be muddied because it's a deeper connection that's happening, and it's an intense connection that's actually taking us into higher and expansive experiences of life. So if you've gotten fed today, if you feel, a little bit clearer, please, by all means, don't hesitate to donate to the platform, to myself, or just simply hit the like button and share this, because people need to start knowing about this. Otherwise, they're going to have lots of Looney Tune people out there being like, what's going on? And by just knowing what's happening, it helps soothe the soul a little bit. So thanks for sharing, everybody. So much love. See you all next time. Bye. Okay,